Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode where we look into Unity. Today I thought I'd show you how we can create a parallax scrolling effect. A parallax scrolling effect is a way to create a little bit of a 3D effect in a 2D game. And what you have is you have different layers of the background moving relative to the player at different speed. So that's what we will do. This is the first episode in a two-part series where we make this scrolling effect, the parallax scrolling effect. Um, in this first part, we will actually make the parallax scrolling so that the backgrounds move as they should. But we will have some issues in the end, you will see, where when we come to the end of the sprite, it just disappears out of sight of camera. So we need to make a repetition and to create an endless scrolling effect, and that's what we'll do in part 2 of this series. So yeah, without further ado, let's jump into Unity and start creating our parallax effect. So here I have a simple Unity project with a player and some ground that he stands on, and the camera is following the player. So if I start it and I can move him with the keys on my keyboard, and the camera will follow. So now we want to have some background and a little bit of foreground as well. So let's do that. So here under assets, I have some images, sprites that we will use. But to do this, first we add an empty object. So let's do that. Go up to the hierarchy and create an empty. And I will call this background. No, that's it. Background, like that. Good. Now we take our sprites and we drop them into and make them child of the empty object. So let's see what we have here. Oops. Like that, and I will actually scale them a little bit so we can see something like that, and like that. Oh, 4. And the last one. Okay, so let's move them a little bit to where we want to have them relative to player. So let's do like this, and so that's so the first one here with sky and some mountains far away in the distance will move relative to the camera in, what should I say, the highest speed. So now we have an issue here. As you see, they don't show up, or they do show up in the right order. If I just, so almost. Then we go into the sprite render and we change the order within the layer. So the mountains can be at 0. The bushes should be up front, so that we set that to 2, and the city should be in the middle there. So we set that to 1. Like that. And maybe we should change the order here as well, so we actually see what order they are displayed in. So there we have it. Now the player and the ground is set order 2, and the bushes are 3, city at 1, and blue sky at 0. Okay, so now we have them in our game. So let's see what happens now when we actually play. The player move, but everything is stationary, moving at the same speed, whether it's far away or close or even in front of the player. So to actually make something else happen here, we need to create a script. So we go in here under the scripts folder, and I want to create a folder. There we have it. Create a folder. I will call it background. And spell it correctly, like that. And in here, we need to create a C# script. And I will call it Parallax scroll. And this script should be a component of the empty object, the background object. So we select that, take our script, and drop it into the inspector. So let's open that in Visual Studio. So the first thing we want to do, we want the different sprites, the background sprites, to move relative to the camera, to basically follow the camera, but not at the same speed as the camera. So first we need to actually get a reference to the camera. So we create a private variable, camera, and I will call it main, can't type today, camera, like that. And in the starter we set main camera equal to camera.main. Okay. Then what we will do in the update is to actually go through all the child objects and update their position depending on where the camera is. So let's start a for each loop. And we'll take the transform of the, this is the transform of the empty object that actually contains the transform of all the child objects in an array. So we take this, I call it background transform in transform. And what we want to do here is to actually set then the position of the background, of this specific background relative to the camera. So we do that by creating a new vector 3. And for the X position, let's call that background X actually. And we will shortly create that local variable. So that will be the variable we use to actually calculate the position we want this background to be in or on. And for the other ones, we just take the current position that the background has. So let's create this background X. And to begin with, let's just see what happens if we let the background X just be the position of the X coordinate of the camera. So let's go back to Unity and play again. Oh, I forgot some curly brackets. Yes, that's the way we do it. Now it should work. So now you see in the game window down here that basically it looks like nothing happens because the background is following, but you can see in the scene view that the camera is following the player and all the backgrounds are following the camera. But that's not really what we want. We want them to move at different speeds. So what we can do now is actually to take the X position of the camera and we multiply it by the Z coordinate of the actual background. So that means we can decide how much of the camera position that the background should move in by actually setting it, giving it a set position that is different from 0 or different from 1. Like that. So let's see. Now we actually have to set something here. Now if the set position is 0, let's see what this one is. This one has to be 0. So we start with setting the actual empty object set value to 0. No, that was not good. Skip that. But the set position should be 0. Then we can actually adjust the set position for this. The blue sky should move almost as fast as the camera, but not really. So let's put it at 0.95. The city in the background should be moving a little bit faster. So we put that at, let's say, 0.7 maybe will be okay. And the bushes that are actually in front of the player and the platform should move in the opposite direction of the camera. So we put in a negative value. Let's set -1. That means for each unit that the camera moves to the right, let's say, then the foreground, the bushes will move 1 unit to the left. Okay, so let's try this and see how it looks. So let's bring up the game view so we can see it properly here, like that. So now we're getting a little bit of the effect that we want. Things are moving relative to the player. Okay, so now here we have our parallax effect and our backgrounds. But if we now play this, and I will switch to the game. Yeah, there it is. So yeah, everything moves okay. Looks good, but as you can see, when I move away to the side, the sprites after a while will disappear out of the view. So this is something we need to fix, and we will do that in part 2 of this series. So if you like this, please like and subscribe. And the code and the Unity project for this project will be available on my GitLab account if you want to check it out. The links will be in the description below. So, yeah, until next time. Bye bye.